It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know, however, is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you. Because that's New Orleans, and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar today, we're at the fabulous Wayfare on Ferret Street, which is a couple of blocks down from Napoleon Avenue, where they have a 3-hour happy hour here every day of their own. We can get half-price drinks and half-price bar food, or you can just stick around here for the next 60 minutes and enjoy happy hour with us. As I mentioned, I'm Grant Morris, and I'm here with Mykia Jovan. Did I get that correct?
You
Both
did.
syllables. Thank you very much. Mykia Jovan is a New Orleans musician. How would you best describe yourself if someone asked you? What do you have to say when people ask you, what kind of music do you do?
I think I sing soul music. I'm
Okay.
an emotional soul singer.
An emotional soul singer. That would be horrible if you were an emotionless soul singer, wouldn't it? Is there such a person?
Oh, have you been on Frenchman?
Really? That's where they all hang out? Who is the most emotionless soul singer in New Orleans that you could point to?
I have no clue.
You don't want to say, I know.
No.
All right, well, what about deferring to your attorney, Toni Arnona? Toni Arnona's here. Hi, Toni.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Because I know your brother.
Yes, you do.
Your brother Vince owns Wayfare.
He does.
So there's only so much we can say about Wayfare today.
Only so much.
We love Wayfare, to tell you the truth. You're not a part owner of this whole place, right?
No, I don't know.
Yes. Well, is that yes, you are.
I mean, we're kind of a family
Right.
run business, I guess, in so
Right.
many words. But I don't make any of the executive decisions.
What?
I
So
did pick the paint on the wall.
You picked this color.
like
How
the
would you describe this as turquoise?
Yes, turquoise, sky blue.
Is it sky? No, it's not
Behind
sky
you's
blue.
a little more sky.
Oh, it's a different color than I'm
Yeah.
looking at over here. Why do you have two different colors? That is two. That is sky blue and that is turquoise. So
Yeah.
we're both right.
Dimension.
Why? I don't think I have dementia. Talking of which, my doctor is here, Dr. Charles S. Corprew III.
Wow.
Hi.
The whole name.
How about that? Well, I have it written down here. Now, what are you a doctor of? Not medicine, I assume.
No, I have a PhD in psychological science.
Psychological science. Well, we've got it all going on here today.
Yeah, no
What
doubt.
what is that, psychological science?
The study of the mind and behavior. Simply.
I haven't ever heard the word psychology and science used next to each other like that, I don't think. Have you, Toni? And you're a lawyer.
Psychology and science.
Psychological science.
I don't know.
Yeah, most people, when they say psychology is pop, but
Yeah.
there is a science base behind it. So
Well, I guess
neuroscience.
you're not a neuroscientist.
Not a neuroscience. I'm a developmental psychologist. So we do a lot of study on how we get to be who we are in life. What factors led you to be who you are?
Do people want to know that? really?
Yeah, no doubt. I do.
I think I do.
Do you? You do? Mykia, what would you like to know? You want to know how you
just-
got to be where you are today?
I'm looking forward to the conversation continuing and you telling me.
I'd love to know why you want to know. Why do you want to know who you are today? What would that tell you?
Well, I have an idea of who I am today, but sitting across from a psychologist, it's kind of, I'm curious to know what his analysis is.
Okay. What's the first question then, doctor?
Where are you from?
I'm from New Orleans.
Oh, there we go.
That's all you need to know.
No. The next question is, where'd you go to high school?
Of course. McMain and Noka.
Oh, I got you. That's why you are so talented.
What does that tell you about? I mean, everybody asks that question in New Orleans because it pegs somebody about what kind of person they are.
It does, and
But you're a psychologist, you're a professional. What is it telling you about?
well,
Mykia?
I'm not from New Orleans, and so the interesting thing when in Virginia we ask where you go to school, we're talking about college.
Right.
But New Orleans has a way of where you went to high school indicated a lot about class.
Well, because we don't breed people who are smart enough to go to college, so we don't worry about that. School here just means high school.
Right, exactly. But I mean, there is that level of class that if you went to a certain high school, it meant something.
It means a lot different whether you went to Jesuit or you went to Newman or you went to McMahon.
Exactly.
And we peg someone. Where did you go to high school, Toni?
St. Mary's Dominican.
Dominican.
I'm being pegged.
Yes.
Exactly. What does that tell us about you?
I don't. I don't know.
Someone's calling you, Charles. Who is it? Anyone?
I have no clue. I don't answer numbers.
Don't answer. If you don't know who it is, don't pick
No.
up.
I have some very successful cousins that went to Dominican.
Okay, great.
So,
At least someone's
and-
successful.
Is that an outlier in your family success? Or?
No. No.
How do you know that?
But look at her. I mean,
Right.
because she walked in, she let us know about her presence. You can tell success is a part of who she is.
Does that come from your family, though?
I'm successful because of Charles and Bertha Corprew, no doubt.
Charles II.
Charles the third, yeah, exactly. Charles Jr.
Okay. And are you successful because of your parents, Mykia?
I'm successful because my parents decided to separate.
So you're successful despite your parents.
No, actually, my mother and father are amazing, but I think in terms of being brought up in a two-parent home, I haven't had that experience. But I think because they were mature enough to separate, I'm successable.
Which one of them did you end up with?
My mom.
Okay. And what do you think would have happened if they'd stayed together?
I probably would be in somebody's church right now, singing, which is cool, but it's not the path that I wanted for myself.
That's interesting. You think if your parents had stayed together, you would end up in the church?
I would have needed a lot of prayer.
And as it is, you've risen above prayer and you don't need God or Jesus or anyone
Oh,
else.
I do. I can expand myself beyond the confines of a sanctuary.
I can say that again.
I can expand myself beyond the confines of a sanctuary,
Okay.
of just one building.
Do you write your own songs?
I do.
That sounds like a lyric from something.
No, it's your
You're a-
energy. I'm just feeding off of all of you right now.
You can expand yourself beyond the confines of a sanctuary. That is almost like poetry, isn't it, Doctor?
It is. It's
Corprew?
beautiful.
It
Yes.
is. The third.
Yes.
So who was the first Charles Corprew?
I don't know. I can't say that. I don't know. I never met him. He died before I was born.
Okay. He was your grandfather.
He was my grandfather.
And they're all from Virginia Beach?
All from Virginia. All from either
Virginia.
Norfolk or Chesapeake,
Right.
Virginia.
Okay. Well, how'd you get here? School.
School, exactly. I went to Tulane to get my PhD under the direction of Dr. Michael Cunningham.
Do anyone know Dr. Michael Cunningham
I do
here?
not know.
No?
Amazing
Sounds
man.
like a really smart guy.
He is. He is 10 times smarter, maybe 100 times smarter than I will ever be.
Well, how many times?
100 times.
100 times.
Yes.
That would give him an IQ of, what, 1,000?
Maybe so. He's a
Unlikely to be
he is
true,
a
but anyway.
brilliant
You're
man.
almost as poetic as Mykia. So, Mykia, you have a pretty good idea about who you are, of your sense of your own self, then already by the sound of it.
I guess so, yeah. I think we're all evolving, so I know who I am right now.
Would you go?
I feel like I should have smoked before I came.
Do you smoke a lot of weed? Because mostly
Today
we
would
smoke.
be the day, though.
We usually smoke a lot of weed before we come on the show. Normally, actually, Charles, are you a big proponent of weed smoking?
I allow.
Professionally?
I not allow. I am a proponent of whatever makes people healthy and happy.
Okay,
Exactly.
Tony. What as a lawyer, I guess you can't say.
I
Well,
plead the fifth. I think
you'd
that
have
would
to
be
go to another state where it's legal to do that.
I
Okay.
was in Denver a couple weeks ago and stayed at an Airbnb, and the owner monetized everything in the apartment and the weed.
How did that work?
I mean, you could just, it was really interesting. You could take a little check sheet, say, I smoked a blunt, and put the $9 in the envelope. $9 for a blunt, and go about your merry way.
It's
Did
like
you
a
do it?
mini bar
No.
for weed.
Exactly.
idea.
Exactly. And they had edibles. No, I don't partake, but
I'm scared to do that whole edible thing.
oh yeah, no doubt.
I mean, I don't mind doing it myself if I made my own stuff, But buying it at a shop and swallowing something,
You don't know.
I'm
what's in
scared to
there.
do that. That's what everyone's doing now, though.
That's the best.
Well, it's strong,
It is. True.
Exactly.
but you don't know what you're doing. And then instead of just like with smoking weed, you can put it out, or you can put it down if you're feeling
Can
too
you?
high. Once you've swallowed one of these edibles, hello, what happened to me? Once you've swallowed one of these edibles, you're gone for, 4, 5, 6 hours.
Yeah, no doubt.
Wandering around Denver. I mean, who needs that, really? So, Charles, it says here that that you're the owner or whatever it is. Are you the president or something of something called What's Your Revolution?
Yes, yes.
So, It's a consulting.
It's
It's a psychological consulting business.
yes, it's a racial equity and social justice consulting firm.
Hang on, you have to slow that down. Racial equity and social justice. It's
Yes.
funny that you should say that, actually. It's not that funny, I suppose. Because I'd never heard that term, social justice, until this week.
Really? It's
What
all
do you take social justice to mean?
the ability for everyone to have the life that they would like to lead.
Okay.
And so no matter the amalgamation that you are, you have the ability to thrive in your context.
Isn't that you also known as America? Isn't that the idea?
I think that is the idea.
It's the concept behind the whole country.
That is the concept, but I think we are struggling with that right now.
Right.
And so Lady
the-
Liberty in her blindness, she's peeking around and saying, hey, what's going on in my country?
Yeah. But the word social justice doesn't pertain to the justice system.
Well, it can. Because we know that in Louisiana we incarcerate more people
Right.
than any other place in the world. And we incarcerate more people for non-lethal crimes than any other place in the world.
We're
And
back
so-
to the weed again.
Well, yeah, back to the weed again. Exactly. And so how do we use our justice system to be just?
Well, we have an attorney sitting right
Right,
here.
exactly.
I don't know if I think the legal system is just at all. I mean,
How do you justify being a part of it?
I think, well, from my perspective, I think you're innocent until proven guilty, and I'm part of trying to defend against that, defend against an unbased claim or a crime or, allegation, any of those things,
What do you think about a system, though, that asks people to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and then everyone pleads not guilty and you hire a lawyer to try and prove whatever it is you want to prove, whether it's true or not? It
The
has nothing to do
state
with
has to prove it, so, it's not my job to prove.
What do you do? Are you a defense attorney?
I've done criminal defense, yeah. And so, and when we're talking about a justice system in that way, not just like bringing a civil claim, but defending yourself against a crime that somebody thinks they can prove against you. I mean, we know that our system is corrupt, right? I mean,
But suppose I am charged with a crime and I didn't do it for real.
yeah.
But all I've got standing between me and going to jail or worse is you.
Well, I mean, I hope I can do my job. I mean,
But I mean, suppose you're not very good.
well, then you didn't hire a good lawyer.
Well,
right?
but the whole thing depends on
No,
hiring
I mean,
a good lawyer. It's crazy.
It is crazy because it costs to hire a defense lawyer, and we know that the defense attorneys that they can provide, the state can provide for you, are overworked. They don't have the resources, and so it is easier for them to plead you guilty and get some kind of plea deal than it is for them to actually try to pursue a defense of your case. You know what I'm saying? Because they've got hundreds of you sitting in a jail cell or sitting at home that they've got to try to move these cases, and we know it's underfunded, and I think several years ago, I don't know if they're still doing it, some of the judges were appointing private attorneys because they knew that our public defender's office couldn't handle the workload. So, it is sad because if you don't have the money, if you can't pull together the funds to hire someone privately that can give you the kind of defense that you need, you're left to defending on the system again. Even though you have a defense attorney, it's still somebody that's provided to you by the system, so.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We know that money is the greatest leverage point in any system. And we've seen people who have the means get off, who may not or should not have gotten off, and people who are innocent. And we know with the Innocence Project that we have here in Louisiana, men who have sat in jail for decades, who then were exonerated after evidence,
Right.
after the means were actually provided for them to be able to exonerate them and give them their lives back. So again, I go back to means. Money is the greatest leverage point in any system. It goes back to that social justice. How do we ensure that means are provided or opportunities are provided for people to have means to be successful in life?
Well, everybody wants to get their hands on more money.
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
So when you say, what's your revolution, what is that referring to? How do I get more money?
No, well, it depends. It depends. Everybody's revolution is different. And so that's why I think
What's
it is...
your revolution?
Oh, boy. My revolution right now is for me to be the healthiest version of myself each and every day, and so that I can be a beacon of light for those who are struggling to find the healthiest version of
And do
themselves.
I have to afford to be able to pay you?
No, you do not. We can be friends and have a good have a good time.
How are you making a living out of this? What's your revolution?
So the consulting firm, the radio show that I have, the
Right.
What's Your Revolution radio show.
Which is on WBOK.
It's on WBOK. And so it's a great time. I bring people from all over the country to talk about their revolutions. And it's my passion. It's my joy. It's what I love to do
Right.
each week.
It's really, I've heard your show. It's really uplifting. Is that the word? It's motivational. It's inspirational is
Thank
the word
you.
I'm looking
I
for.
appreciate it. I'm very
You're
grateful
a
and
very
humbled.
inspirational broadcaster.
Thank you.
I was hoping
appreciate
you'd like take it away here today and go crazy on one of
No,
these
no,
rants
no,
of
no.
yours.
I'm enjoying being your guest.
So, but I always think when I listen to your show, though, that it presupposes that everybody's unhappy.
No, I don't think that. I think that we all are on a journey to find something that is
That's
greater.
what you're saying. We're all evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, you know, it's interesting. I was having a conversation about doing the work, and what does that mean for people? And being frustrated and having conversations with people who are not consciously doing the work on themselves. It's hard, because when you know that you're doing work, you want people to be in that with you. But if
that's
they're
what I'm
not,
saying. That presupposes that everybody has to improve constantly.
Well-
Can't we just be happy with who we are?
well, hopefully,
I mean, yeah, can we?
yeah.
Can we?
I don't know.
Are you happy with who you are right now?
I like what both of them are saying. It's constantly a daily, effort. I mean,
Do
sometimes
you feel like you
have,
need to improve constantly?
I think everyone has room for improvement.
Do you, Mykia?
I do.
So I'm just alone in this. I think if we all just accepted ourselves for who we are, we'd all be perfectly happy.
I think that's a balance, though, accepting where you are at the moment, but not getting complacent and
Okay.
trying to work towards
Okay.
improvement.
Well, complacency is not regarded as a positive virtue, but why not?
If you want to be really zen about it and accept things as they are, that's cool. But, like, for instance, I'm working on my punctuality, and today I was barely there, and you were, like, just right on time. If I had just settled into that and been like, well, I always make it just right on time, eventually people will get annoyed and
They do. And
won't
it's
call
a
me for
very
podcasts anymore.
Charles, what is the deal with punctuality?
It's a cultural thing, I think.
Is it?
It's a New Orleans thing. I realized that, in New Orleans, I can get away with being late.
Yeah.
But when I go to see my clients around the country, I'm always early because that is not something that most people tolerate. But in New Orleans, you can walk into a meeting like, hey, how you doing? Great to see you.
Well,
and everybody's like, okay, great to see you, Charles.
I'm very interested in the psychology of punctuality, actually, because I have never heard anyone talk about it, but it pisses me off because people are... I figure if you can be late, you can be on time.
Right.
Why are people late?
Again, I go back to context and culture.
I know why I'm
Why are you
usually
like
late.
Mykia? What is it?
Anxiety. I
Really?
talk. I have to. There's a whole lot of inner monologues happening before I even step out of the house. So
In what sense? You have social anxiety?
absolutely. Just what am I gonna wear? I didn't realize that this was lining up in a moment where I decided not to drink. I haven't been drinking. So usually I have a little bit of liquid courage and
I was going to say that's a poor decision to
I know.
quit
I didn't
drinking.
realize during
What?
happy hour
What?
that was.
How long have you quit drinking for?
It's only been 2 wees.
Oh, that's pretty hard. That's the hard
Yeah.
That's her
time.
revolution.
It's
That's your
and
revolution.
it's not to say that I'm a complete lush, because hey, y'all.
No, but it's amazing when you quit drinking, though, isn't it?
I can-
Have you found this? How much you associate with drinking?
Yeah, I didn't realize. We
Yeah.
do a lot in New Orleans. Like,
Yeah.
I went to the museum the other day, and usually I have a cocktail, and I was like, what do you do? What do you do when you're
Not drinking. Have you noticed that in your life, that since you've quit that, you associate drinking with everything? With cooking, with coming home, with going out, with sitting down, with standing up. Every single thing is associated with drinking, isn't it?
I'm hesitating to say yes to that, because I feel like that means more than what I'm willing to accept that it means.
But is that a New Orleans thing?
Yes.
Is that a New Orleans thing?
Yes.
Is that something that happens in Nashville, Tennessee? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it happens in New Orleans.
Yeah.
You go to other places and people don't drink all the time everywhere. When you go to someone's house, or you go out, or you stay home, or you're by yourself, or you're with friends, whatever it is, whatever the occasion in New Orleans is a good time for a drink.
Well, that's the thing. There's always an occasion.
Exactly.
There's always
Festivals.
something.
Yeah.
Do you find that, Charles?
I mean, yes. I mean, I'm thinking, okay, it's happy hour. I'm going to have a drink.
Well,
I'm not on my show.
You're in a bar. This is a bar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the end of the day. We're having a good time. A little cocktail.
But you link punctuality, Mykia, to the fear of showing up.
Mm-hmm. For me personally, yeah.
So if you lived in a perfect world where you could do whatever you want, you wouldn't show up anywhere, ever?
I would take my time. I would really take my time. In the perfect situation, I think it would be a more organic, tribal, lifestyle, and not. I wouldn't even have clocks.
Okay. But you'd have to be on your own because everybody would be. How does it work in a society with no time?
I don't know.
Would that work?
Sounds like fun.
It does.
Does it?
Sounds like
It
less
does.
stress.
It does.
If we had no time and we didn't have to be anywhere at any particular point,
I mean,
could we actually
having a
survive with
schedule-
other people?
Having a schedule and not necessarily being on the clock is two different things. I think waking up when the sun is out and getting your work done and being home at a certain time is nice and appropriate and healthy. But in terms of having certain things carved out throughout the day, and also I'm an artist. I don't have a 9 to 5 or anything,
Right.
so
You're a
I don't know
musician.
this world.
Are you writing during the day?
I am.
So you write during the day and you perform at night?
And also
Do you have
write
a
at
schedule?
night. Do I have a writing schedule?
Yeah,
or just
do you have a performing schedule or a writing schedule?
So I have 2 weeklies that are concrete. Blue Nile on Sunday nights and 3090 on Thursday nights with a band called Smoke and Bones. Blue Nile is with my band, so it's a different
So you
vibe.
have to show up on
I have
time
to show
for
up.
these gigs.
We got to talk to Jesse at Blue Nile about how successful I am. But I start around 7:30-ish
That's hell.
and end around 10-ish.
And do you have stage fright
I do.
every night?
Not every night. It depends on how my day has gone. Like I said, I have a whole
So how do you
regimen.
feel about, do you have a regimen of preparing yourself to get up on stage? Wow, you're well situated to be a drug addict or something. That's how you start out, right?
That's terrible.
Isn't that right?
I don't know.
Isn't that how all these famous people started out having terrible drug problems because they had stage fright?
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Billie Holiday, I think.
And you know what? That's why I take breaks with drinking. This is very hard
Right.
for me right now.
Is it?
You're freaking me out.
She's giving you that look.
I'm sorry. Hey, listen, can I talk you into singing something? Have you guys
Right after
heard?
that?
I know. I was wondering how to segue into that. Have you guys heard Mykia's stuff?
I have not.
Man, you're going to get a shock of a lifetime when you hear what you can do. That's the funny thing is sitting here talking to people, and you don't know what they do, and everyone knows what you do because it's the same thing you do at work, right? You sit
Right,
around
exactly.
talking to people. Everyone knows what you do because it's Tony, you're a lawyer, and you sit around talking. This is what I do for a living. I sit around talking, and then you turn over here to Mykia, and suddenly it's a whole different thing. Do you want to play something, or do you want to perform something?
Oh my goodness.
We can do it either way.
Perform.
I can do something a cappella,
Okay, that'll be fantastic.
like right now, right this second.
Yeah, do you want a minute? Do you want to get a minute to get used to the idea?
Yeah.
want
Can
me
we
to
talk
ask-
about some other things?
Sure thing. Okay. What do we ask Tony? Come up with a question for Tony, and I'll ask it.
After a long day, what type of music do you like to listen to?
I would say it depends.
What kind of day?
I guess it depends on the day. I don't know. I have a really eclectic, very weird taste in music. I like very old things. I'm not very hip into anything new. Anything that's new on the radio, I have to kind of be like.
When's the
In the
last
car to
time?
hear it?
When's the
Yeah,
last
like
time?
somebody has to,
I was gonna
play
say,
it for
when's the
me.
last
I'd be,
time
"Oh,
you
I
listened
really
to
like
When's the last time you listened to the radio? Is that?
I couldn't tell you. There
you go.
Yeah, I don't listen to the radio.
Do you listen to the radio, Charles? Well, you're on the radio, of course.
I do.
Do you listen to music radio?
I do listen to WBOK.
But there's no music on WBAK. It's all talk.
Sometimes. So sometimes there's a little bit of music, but
But not really. That's
Not
not a
really.
music station.
No,
Do you
it's
listen to music?
I do, but not the radio too much.
What do you listen to? Spotify?
No, like Tony, yeah, I do listen to Spotify a lot, and it's very eclectic. Like if I hear songs that are on commercials, I will Shazam them.
Oh, I know. I'm like so
and
into
then add them
Shazam.
to
I'm like-
yeah, exactly, and add them to my playlist. So
Okay.
yeah,
Who
exactly.
have you Shazammed lately that you've discovered on? What sort of commercial was it?
It was maybe it was a Google, maybe the Pixel 2 phone.
Okay.
There's a song called "Work It Out." Yeah, and it's a great song. It's actually a good running song.
Oh, you run?
I do run.
Aha. How far?
No more than 3 or 4 miles.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
you can't be 60 and look like this if you don't.
60. You almost had me there for a minute. Do you work out, Toni?
I try to work out.
Okay, what do you listen to while you're working out?
I usually go to somebody else's class where they have to think about that.
Ah, you go to a class.
Yeah. I don't have any playlist on my phone. This is like a crazy. And I feel like my shuffle is so all over the place. But making a playlist is like so time consuming, and I feel like it's like really like kind of like an art. Like, you know, you have to put all the right music in the right genre, and it has to sound good together. So
But you're stuck in the past at some point from wherever you put the stuff on your phone.
how so?
Well, you're not listening to new stuff, you say?
No, I mean,
just have a
exactly.
playlist.
I mean, unless somebody's like, my husband's a little bit more hip than me, so sometimes he'll play something, I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll put that on my phone. Or if I do go to a workout class, I'll be like, oh, that was fun. But, yeah, I don't know, I'm just not hip, I guess.
Well, you have to go to Mykia's gig on...
I know, I'm like mentally
I'm not very hip
calendaring
either. Wait
it
a
for
minute.
Sunday.
What days is it? Sunday at the Blue
Sundays.
Nile.
Sundays at the Blue Nile, yeah.
That's a good night at the Blue Nile,
It
actually.
is.
And it's not too late.
Yeah, you get to go
And-
to work in the morning.
And Tuesday?
Thursdays
Thursdays at what?
at 3090.
At
It's right next door
3090.
to the Blue Nile, too.
Yeah, so you're right down there on Frenchman all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a funny thing to be knocking Frenchman Street.
I know, isn't it fun? I'm tired of being on Frenchman, that's why.
You sick of it? What do you want to do? What's your revolution?
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm excited. I have a few festivals coming up. We're doing Jazz Fest this year and Essence Fest this year.
Yeah, we've got you right at the beginning of your what's going to be giant career here.
I will receive that. Okay.
That's what I'm picking.
Hopefully I
Wait
won't
till you hear
be
this. You guys
strung
have
out
no idea what's
before
going
then.
on.
I cannot wait.
You have no idea what's going on here. It's really interesting how super talented you are and how amazing this record of yours is. It's called,
You've heard it?
Yeah, it's called Elliyahu, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard it. That's why you're on the show, because we've
I didn't
heard
think
it.
you heard the
Yes,
records.
it's very impressive. I know people compare you to Billie Holiday and Erykah Badu, but I think you sound sort of like Sade, kind of.
I love
If
you
I
for
was
that.
going to compare you to anyone, it's too sexy for these other.
I appreciate that. I love Sade. Thank you.
Me too. I love what you're doing. So so you're playing Jazz Fest this year and Essence Fest, which are both huge, and this is just the beginning of your career, right? I mean, you're pretty young still.
Yeah, it's the beginning of people recognizing that
Yeah.
I'm here.
Right.
I've been on Frenchman for about 8 years, so we've been there a long time. I started off as a duo, jazz set, like happy hour set,
Right.
and ended up expanding the band and doing the Sunday night slot.
It's funny how this overnight success takes such a long time. 8 years on Frenchman Street. Holy shit.
Now, do you understand why
Yeah, no wonder you
I'm ready to go?
hate it. It's time to move on.
Yeah.
It really is. Okay, have you warmed yourself up to doing something for us?
No,
No, okay.
but sure.
Okay.
If it's time, it's
Yeah,
time.
what do you want to do?
I think maybe I'll just do a little snippet of the single 16 shots. I think it's appropriate, since you're a lawyer and we talked about incarceration and social injustice. So I know I have to keep this mic here, but I'm just going to push it back so I don't scream into it. Blend in and stay out the sun, because the darker you are, the shorter the run. Blend in and stay out the sun, because the darker you are, the shorter the run. I'm from the 17th, reppin' highly grove slow on a slick light, 'cause my skin's light and the pigs might try to follow me home, so I blur out where I come from. I'm camouflaging in the southern breeze by the bourgeoisies, the Creoles in the east that can do slick backs without hair grease. bragging over tea about their house slave genealogy. So blend in and stay out the sun, because the darker you are, the shorter the run. Blend in and stay out the sun, because the darker you are, the shorter the run.
That was amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And it's even more powerful on the record, of course. Actually, the lyrics sound a lot more stark when you just sing them like that without the music. Did you write that first as a lyric before the music?
It started off as a journal entry, and it ended up one night at Blue Nile. I asked the band, I was just working on something, and I asked them to come up with some instrumentation behind me, and it evolved into that. I feel like evolving is the word of
Evolving is the word of the day. What did you say first about the sanctuary? You've expanded beyond the...
I talk a lot of smack, man. I don't know what I said earlier.
That feels like it would fit right into that kind
Yeah.
of vibe as well. Not necessarily in the same song. So
It's just my vocabulary, I guess.
blend in, stay out the sun, meaning look white.
Yes, meaning code switch. We do that a lot. Meaning have white friends, because sometimes when stuff goes down, people are hesitant to pull out their guns when there's white folks around. Seriously. From my experience living in Holly Grove and then going downtown to work, people would treat me differently on the bus, getting off the bus. And then the closer I get to Frenchman Street, the more accepted I am. Same people that can see me on a stage and be like, oh my gosh, you're so talented. If they see me walking across the street with my big hair, my full lips, and my attitude, it's intimidating to some people. And growing up with fair skin, a lot of times our elders would tell us to stay out of the sun. Like literally, don't mess up your beautiful complexion, because you're one step closer into being accepted in this society. I have a little sister who's much darker than me. We have the same parent, and it's a completely different experience for her.
Her whole life is a completely different experience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dr. Corprew?
Yeah, no doubt. One of my favorite shows, Blackish, a couple weeks ago, had an episode about the talk. And my grandmother would say the same thing. And she's a beautiful, dark-skinned woman. And I love the beach. We talked about that earlier. And so I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Our house is 10 minutes away from the beach. And so I was always in the summer out in the sun. And my grandmother never wanted me to go and spend a long time, because if you got too dark. And as a child, I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it was security. And for her experiences as this very dark-skinned woman and growing up in the South, in the rural South. She was born in 1909. And those experiences of racism and discrimination because of skin color. She did not want me to be dark. And I love to get as dark as possible in the summertime. I mean, literally don't even want to go back.
Is this anything that white people even notice, though? Or is this only
know.
what other black people notice? Does a white person notice how black you are and care?
Oh, I think there's something internal that they notice.
You think so?
I think so.
You think the average white person has got a gradation of blackness just like black people? I think this is maybe more of a black thing.
I think when we talk about colorism, it's more of a black thing, the way we treat each other.
Yeah.
But I definitely think the softer your hair is, the fine, like, people notice my hair and my style. I stand out more to most white people this way than I would if I straightened my hair and I came in a business suit. I would be less threatening. Maybe today, because I decided to wear this flowy dress
What made
or whatever.
you choose this when you were at home today?
Honestly, it took me a long time to leave the house, so this is what I didn't have to iron.
I think you look great.
Okay, well,
I think you look great.
yeah, I think you do look great.
Thank you. Yeah.
But all of us
I'm
go
not saying
through-
that you guys don't think I look great.
No, I'm just...
Everybody goes through a thing about what they're going to wear when they leave the house.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, and sometimes you see these photos on Facebook of people at Walmart. Those people that
And they don't
People of Walmart, you wonder how could anyone ever look at themselves in the mirror and leave the house looking like that. But everybody makes a decision about what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
So worrying about what you look like before you leave the house is not abnormal, I have to tell you, I don't think. But I'm wondering, I think that's perfectly normal, isn't it, Charles, as a psychologist? Everyone looks at themselves in the mirror and goes, shit, can I really get away with this?
I don't like to say everyone. I mean,
Well, okay.
But
I mean,
don't you,
there's a population of people who think about that.
don't we all kind of dress the part, though? I mean, I have to dress like a lawyer, right? I'm a
Right.
lawyer. I go to work every day. You get to dress like an artist. I mean, I think that's awesome because sometimes I hate putting on dress pants or a suit, or I'd love to just wear jeans or a nice flowy. You know what I mean? Like, aren't we all kind of dressing for our profession, maybe, or for how we want people to perceive us, you know? And part of that is a reflection of our profession, you know? And
It
I
can
agree,
be,
but
yeah,
I do
yes.
change my style more, not just exactly. You're right. I dress according to how I want to be perceived, and so in certain spaces, when I want to be perceived as non-threatening, that's where this all comes into play.
And how do you get to be perceived as threatening, exactly? What do you think people are thinking when you're threatening them? Like you're going to shoot them?
No, not necessarily. I think there's, you know what a token is, right?
Token.
You've never heard
Yeah.
this phrase?
Yeah.
So,
like Uncle Tom type.
yes.
Tokenism.
So there's a clear distinction, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. I'm not saying that the way that I dress is going to stop anybody from wanting to hurt me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the way that I dress is going to keep me safe. I'm not saying the way that somebody else dress is going to ensure that they're unsafe. The first thing people say when women are attacked is, "What was she wearing?" So I'm not saying that.
Right.
Let's make that clear. But what I am saying is, there's a certain aesthetic in our society, a certain beauty that's accepted. We see it on the television. We hear it in music. That people feel represents this country more than other aesthetics do. So it is a conscious decision sometimes when I'm in spaces where I feel like I sing at a lot of weddings. I'm a wedding singer as well, and you know, weddings and funerals, you know, are the most segregated places. You know who you're gonna invite, I guess, based off of the fact that weddings are expensive. You got to narrow it down to family usually, and some close friends, and usually it's pretty divided. And I've been in situations where I've been the only black person at a venue, and even though in my contract it says that I can eat off of the buffet as a guest, and all of my white bandmates can walk to and fro, I stand out. I look like the help to them, not because I'm dressed like the help, but because it's just over your head that this person, we don't recognize this person, but you also don't recognize the drummer, the guitarist, but they're white men with blonde hair and blue eyes standing at the buffet. So I don't know if I'm making sense, but
No, we are inherently biased. We wake up biased about something every day, and race is one of those biases that we do have. So part of the work that I do with my consulting firm is working with individuals and organizations to recognize that bias and how to move towards it. And so it's interesting when people say to me, no, I'm not biased. Yes, we are. And so it's interesting telling my stories of bias to people. When I'm doing the work with them, it actually disarms them, because most people think I'm going to walk in and tell them that they're racist. No, but I'm going to walk in and say, you know, we have biases every day that dictate our behavior. And so if I don't have a suit on, I thought about that today. I'm dressed like this, and I do dress like this most of the time. Thankful to my father.
You dressed sharp.
Thank you.
Sharp
Thank
looking.
you. That was because of my father. My father got up, and my father was a principal. He got up with a suit every day, so that's what I saw.
Right.
But I was like, I've got something athletic to do right after this. So I was like, I could go in a sweatsuit and a hoodie, but I was like, that's not going to be indicative, or
Right.
people are going to perceive, well, that's not Dr. Corprew. So that's something that I have to think about every day as I'm going out into the public. How am I going to be perceived?
But these things that you're talking about, that you're both talking about, and you're talking about too, Tony, is what you're wearing, is you're wanting to satisfy other people's expectations.
no.
No,
Not-
sometimes
I'm
it's
wanting to
forced
be
on
safe.
you too.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
want
you
to avoid as much conflict as possible.
Okay.
Especially
So you think
in
if
work
you're going to
environments.
blend in, which is what you said in the song, right? Blend in, otherwise you're going to What are the lyrics?
Blend in, stay out the sun, because the darker you are, the shorter the run.
Right. In other words, the shorter the run in life, are you going to be more likely to be shot?
Yeah.
You think about the shootings that have happened in our country. Many of the men have been large, dark-skinned men. And so that threat, that perception of threat, and many of them have been unarmed, but that perception that you are large and a dark man of color, right, and how society perceives you, and we think about how the media has portrayed men of color, particularly who are large and darker skinned, as a threat. And we internalize that.
When you say the media, you mean movies and TV?
Movies and TV, and you think about WDSU. You think about our local stations, and who are they portraying on TV? All right, our news is littered by who murdered who.
All right.
And so, what do you see? And people internalize that, and fear is internalized that. And so, we have to make sure that our media consumption allows us to see a wide breadth of people's behavior. So black men are not monolithic. Hispanic men are not monolithic. White women are not monolithic. Black women. So we have to be able to see the diversity that goes on within and outside of context and culture. And so when we do that, we have the ability to alleviate our biases. But if we don't move towards them, we'll sit in the house and say, you know what, this person is a threat to me. And we'll behave accordingly.
Do you think New Orleans is more accepting and tolerant than other cities?
I only live here. So
You travel much?
A little, not long enough to know the difference, really.
Charles, what do you think?
I travel all over the country.
And what do you think?
I love being in New Orleans simply because I can party with the mayor and I can party with the homeless man. And everybody's, when it's time to party, we can all get together. But we also know that we have some disparities in our city. You think about our homeless population.
Yeah, but do you think it's better here than other places? Because this is our experience. We live here. We know what it's like.
Right.
You're talking about some pretty horrific experiences, Mykia, even though it's just walking from down Frenchman Street or getting the bus from, what did you say, Pontchartrain Park?
From Hollygrove.
Hollygrove. From Hollygrove to Frenchman Street, which is not that different, you wouldn't have thought.
You wouldn't think so.
No.
I think every city has its uniqueness. And I think New Orleans is one of the greatest cities in the world.
But we pride ourselves on the fact that we're all mixed up, that we're all black and white, that we're all together.
We
that
do.
We have Mardi Gras.
Right. Exactly. But that can hide some of the atrocities that go on in our city.
Mm-hmm. But I'm saying if we're telling ourselves it's that great and it actually is better than other places, it must be pretty bad other places.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it the same?
Sounds logical.
What do you think, Charles? You're a black man and you travel around the country. What's it like here versus other places?
I think that there are similar experiences wherever I go.
Okay.
I do come back and feel at home in New Orleans, but I also know that when I was in grad school, New Orleans was my girlfriend, and I loved everything about her. But then once I graduated, we got married.
And you got married and things changed.
We got married, and I got to see everything. And so I'm happy to say that I work with a number of people here in the city who are wanting to make sure that everybody has the ability to thrive. And it's a challenge.
Right.
So I think every city has its unique challenges that they're trying to do. And if I go to Philly, if I go to New York, they're going to say this is the best place. But their underbellies are going to show that they have problems.
Yeah. Toni,
Yes.
do you travel around much?
I try to.
You went to Argentina.
I did.
What was going on there?
It was amazing. I don't know, everything. I went during the summer, actually. Summer there, which is winter here, so January.
Okay.
And it's the city kind of clears out a little bit in the summer there because it's so hot. So it was very quiet, but it was beautiful. We did a lot of traveling around Argentina. It was cool. Can't wait to go back.
Where did you go? Was it on your honeymoon?
Yes. We did.
And how long have you been married?
Only a little over a year.
A year. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Has your relationship changed since you got married?
So that was like one of the questions on our honeymoon. Like, do you feel different? Do you feel different? I didn't. He did. So I don't know.
He did?
Yeah, and he's been married before, so I don't know why he felt different.
Wow. What was the difference?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
A lot of people would like to. You didn't ask? Are you kidding?
I don't want to know.
You just passed over that.
Yeah.
Glossed over that part of the conversation.
Good for you, babe.
What made you decide to get married?
I guess I fell in love, huh?
Ah, well, a lot of people fall in love.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess I've been in love before, and I didn't get married. I don't know. It was just a perfect pairing, I guess,
Right.
so to say.
Well, you weren't going to do any better than this.
No. He is.
I don't mean that in a bad way.
No,
right?
I mean, he's the most romantic, and, he deals with me. I'm not always the easiest to deal with. And
What's the biggest problem that you have to deal with if I'm married to you?
to me,
Yeah.
I mean, I can be very moody.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you for the vulnerability.
There's drugs for that.
No, yeah, I guess. I'm not on any of them, so he still has to deal with it.
Good for you.
I mean, we all have bad days, right? So, I'm the kind of person that I tend to I try not to, but I do tend to take my work home a little bit. So if I do have a bad day or a stressful day, there's always that.
Can you talk about it when you go home? When you're a lawyer?
Are you meaning is there a privilege
Well,
thing?
I mean, you can't tell your husband, I guess you can't tell your husband the name of the client or...
No, and I deal with a lot. I do a little bit more personal injury now than I do criminal defense. So a lot of times it's the defense attorneys that I want to smash their head in. We talk about disparities. I feel like even just being a woman sometimes is a little bit, you're a little bit, not to be cliche, but in a man's world. So sometimes I feel like older male attorneys might be a little nasty to me or disrespectful. And, as a lawyer, we take courses every year, professionalism, ethics. We are taught that we are professionals and we're supposed to act in a professional way. And I think a lot of times that there's a blurriness there that kind of gets lost, and people become a little bit too passionate for their clients, and they become a little nasty. And you see things like that, and it's aggressive and sometimes disturbing, and it's upsetting when you go home. You're just like, man, this guy was just really just nasty to me today.
But are these guys taking it seriously? Or are they just...
No, that's that they're 100%.
But they really hate you, or are they just pretending?
Well, in a personal injury aspect, I represent clients that are injured or hurt in an accident or in whatever capacity. And a lot of the times we're perceived as, me and my clients, as liars. We're lying about the injury or
You're just trying to get money out of it.
So they're very righteous in what they're defending, because we're all lying, where none of us are telling the truth.
Well, this is what we all think about the law, though, the justice system. I don't know about the other two people sitting at this table, but pretty much everybody thinks that lawyers are making it up. Don't you guys? That you'll say anything.
you want to offend me?
People generally believe that lawyers will say anything, and that's why lawyers have a bad reputation.
But I don't believe that. I don't.
You don't believe that, and you're a lawyer. You're not making it up at all.
No, I mean.
You wouldn't tell a lie for your
No,
client.
I'm not trying to lie for my clients. I don't think my clients are liars. I mean, if they're hurt, why would you lie about it?
Because people want to suck money out of the system, and it's in all insurance companies, and no one's actually suffering.
Well,
No one really has to pay any money because we're all paying for the insurance, and it's all just a big game.
But people do get really hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it is something that can affect you forever or for a little bit or however. I mean, it is.
But everybody's sort of used to these gigantic billboards with Morris Bart and Michael Hinkle. Do you know Michael Hinkle, the Czech guy? Do you know him personally?
I don't know him personally, no.
But you know any of these guys?
Personally?
Put the Womack on them. Do you know them?
I don't know them personally. They wouldn't know me.
Well, no, but you know them. Any of these
I know their billboard.
Me too. But I mean,
yeah.
you don't know them. You don't hang out with these people.
No.
Okay.
Are you open to having a commercial of your own and having a little jingle?
Yes. Let's write one.
Yeah, let's do it.
That would be fun.
I don't know.
You've got a great name, Arnona. Couldn't you work that into something?
Give me a minute.
It's such a great name, Toni Arnona.
Thank
God,
you.
that's got. Doesn't it say a lot? Do you want to write that down? You can write it on the
How do you
table.
spell it? How do you spell the last name?
ARNONA.
Nona.
Yeah.
Toni Arnona. It's just musical right there.
I never thought of it that way.
This is going to be a great day for you. I can see the billboard now. One call, that's all. Like, it's already gone, that one. We have to come up with another one.
I
I'm
listened
sure
to
that it's trademarked.
He had an interview on It's New Orleans I listened to this afternoon.
Morris Bart did?
Yeah, with
He was on?
Y'all have like a psychologist that does interviews?
Yeah.
I listened to it this afternoon. Yeah.
Dr. Pager.
Yes,
His show Mindset. Was he on that?
I was clicking around the website to like try to ease my anxiety and and then I was like, oh, this will be interesting, right? Let's listen to what Morris Barr has to say.
How was it?
It was interesting, I guess.
What did Nick ask him? Anything
I interviewed with
embarrassing?
him once.
For a job?
I did.
Wow, you actually sat across.
I did. He
the
talked
desk.
about himself the entire time. He didn't ask me a single question about
Really?
myself.
And he was thinking of hiring you. That is pretty strange, though, isn't it?
I thought it was funny.
Did he hire you?
I withdrew my application.
Did you really?
I did.
Why?
I did. I just don't. I didn't think it was what I wanted to do.
Sit and listen to Morris Barr talk for an hour. How weird.
Exactly.
What did you want to do?
At the time.
Be a personal injury attorney?
No, at the time, that's when I went and practiced criminal law for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
What was that like?
It's fast paced. You know, criminal court. Especially here we have our misdemeanor court system is set up where we have court in the morning and court in the afternoon. So on any given day, you could have court in the morning and the afternoon for multiple clients. You know, so you're in the court system a lot. So you're in front of judges and you're dealing with clients and things like that on kind of a fast paced. Where civil law isn't so fast paced, it's a little slower. So I liked it. It was interesting, but it's time consuming.
And what exactly is it? Criminal? You're defending people who have been
defense,
charged with
crimes.
With a crime. Which is the difference between a crime? What is a crime exactly?
Well,
legal.
anything. It could be criminal damage to property or possession of marijuana or something domestic related, or
So is it mostly people who have been arrested for something true, and you're defending them and trying to?
Well, I mean, again, look, I'm
your way through the system, or
I'm
is
not
it-
the one that's bringing the charge. So when the district attorney gets the arrest packet and all, he has to say, I have enough evidence to prove that this person committed this crime. And that's on them. That's on their screening department. You know what I mean?
Okay. Most of these crimes are small, though.
A lot of what I did, was mostly misdemeanor. Yeah.
Right. So a crime and a misdemeanor are the same thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a different.
I didn't know.
Like
Did you know that,
like a
Charles?
felony.
I thought they were
I
two
did
different.
A
know that.
felony
I
and a
did know that.
misdemeanor would be the.
A felony and a
Yeah.
misdemeanor. Actually, okay, all right. Did you know that, Mykia? No, me neither.
And-
Okay, how's it going with the jingle?
I'm not
Nothing.
coming up with anything.
Nothing.
That's usually how I feel about it. Blank.
What would you like the jingle to say, Tony? What are we going for?
I don't know.
What are the qualities that someone comes to looking for you? We're looking for a lawyer.
I mean, I think the qualities that I bring to the table versus like the
Yeah.
bigger firms is like I do try to have a good communication with my clients. Like I do. I'm not there all the time. Like right now I'm here, but I do try to get back to people and actually talk to them. I'm not trying to like push them through to like a secretary or somebody because like people come to me with their problems. If you're hurt, if you've got someone that died, if you have a crime that you're facing, that's a very real problem for you. You know what I'm saying? Even though you're just one of my clients, for you, it's very focused for you. So.
it's personal.
Yes, it is personal.
How about that? It's personal. Toni Arnona, no? You're shaking your head. No, good.
I
thought that was a good
You've
slope.
given me the challenge to rhyme with the last name, so.
Oh, it has to rhyme. Oh, I hadn't thought about rhyme. What rhymes with Arnona? You must have thought of that.
I don't know.
You've never thought about what rhymes with you. I guess I've never thought about mine. What rhymes with Corprew? Have you ever thought about that?
No, never thought about that.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Corprew, it's good for
It's
you.
good for you. But why does it have to rhyme? Why does Arnona have to rhyme with something? Put the Womack on him doesn't rhyme with anything.
Yeah, well, I was really thinking in terms of the jingles. Like, what's the other guy? Chip Forstall.
Chip
He does it
Forstall.
all. He does it all.
Sasha Mazakowski does that one.
I know, and also
That's pretty good.
Don't accept-
Tanya Boyd Cannon and someone else. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's like a coveted little
That's a
thing
good
in the
gig.
city,
The Chip
yeah.
Forstall gig. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess
That
so.
must pay pretty well. What is the jingle, though? Do we remember it?
Does it?
I just thought it was he takes care of it all,
Yeah.
and I
He
think
takes
they
care of
Doesn't
it.
he have a bunch of musicians?
exactly, yeah.
Yes.
He's
But what
really-
about Juan LaFonta and Big Frida? Like that's a whole bounce song.
That's a good
Have you
one.
heard this?
No.
It's hilarious.
That's good.
He just posts. Have you seen his new billboards? They're like that art comic, like
Oh, yeah,
very.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
yeah.
I have seen those
Yeah.
billboards. Well, have you got a campaign in mind?
I don't.
He
I
got
don't.
Big Frida to do those things with him, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what
yeah,
we're just saying.
that's
Yeah. Okay.
You don't
Hey,
need
listen,
it,
we have to
don't
get out of here in a few minutes. So
You don't need it.
Before we go, we have to go through a couple of little bits and pieces, like where we can find you, for example.
Okay.
Mykia. And we have to learn how to spell your name. M-Y...
Kia Jovan.
Jovan. Is that your real name?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so where do we find you?
Blue Nile on Sundays,
Blue
7:30
Nile
to
on
10.
Sundays. Where is it on Thursdays?
3090.
3090, I don't know what.
Yeah.
And then, but more to the point, Jazz Fest and Essence Fest.
Do you know what day you're playing?
The first day of Jazz Fest.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure about Essence Fest yet.
What time are you on?
Early, so get there early if you guys
Okay,
come.
early on the first day
On
of
the
Jazz
Congo
Fest.
Square stage, yeah, I'm the
Cool,
first,
all right.
first act.
Well, congratulations. That is
Thank you.
really exciting,
I
actually,
appreciate
isn't it?
it. Thank you.
Are you excited? That's going to
Yeah.
be a day when you have to start
I'm
drinking
gonna drink.
really early.
No,
You'll have to start drinking first thing in the morning.
no.
that gig.
Hopefully, I'll still be sober by then.
When is that?
The 27th.
27th
not too
of
far away.
April.
Yeah, I can do that.
And what are we up to now? It's only March. Yeah, are you going to try and not drink at all till then?
I'm gonna see how far I can go.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, could always
You
come
can always
back and have
start
a cocktail
again.
with you.
Yeah, you can always pick it up again.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll look out for you. So but your website is MykiaJovan.com.
.com.
Are you on
That's it.
iTunes?
Yeah, iTunes, Spotify, all that good
Spotify.
stuff.
You can steal it anyway.
Yeah,
Don't worry about that.
that's what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Well, you get
I don't
something.
Spotify, I don't radio, I'm very traditional.
even
I buy my
st-
music, yes.
You do.
Yeah.
You still buy music.
I still buy music.
Thank you.
Well, you're it. You're the last person left on earth who's still paying for music.
Woohoo.
Well, I buy it too, but I buy it on Spotify, which means that you get paid practically nothing. I get to listen to you for $9 a month or $10 a month, and you probably make, what, nothing, I suppose.
Some sense.
And strangely enough, that dude who owns Spotify is losing money by the billions.
How is that?
I don't know. I don't know how that's possible at
I'm
all.
afraid to commit to Spotify. I don't, it's
You
like
have a fear of
commitment
commitment.
issue.
Now
Do
Now
a
you're
trial
married.
and cancel it before they charge you.
I'll tell you something for a fact. Music doesn't feel any different after you're committed to it. So you
keep that
can
in mind.
totally sign on to Spotify for $9.99 a month and cancel anytime you want. Do you get Netflix?
I do Netflix.
What's the difference?
I don't know, because I don't have cable either.
Right, but I mean, why do you feel okay about paying for Netflix and not for Spotify?
I don't know.
You have to speak to Dr. Corprew about that.
That's what we value.
What's your revolution?
I don't know. My revolution.
You're going to have to, if you don't answer that now, you're going to have to pay for that to see Dr.
You're right.
in the next
Coming out of my
hour.
pocketbook. Yeah.
No doubt.
And Charles, we can find you at WBOK, which is what, 13 something?
WBOK 12:30 a.m.
12:30 a.m.
Wednesdays at 3 p.m.
Right.
And you can go to my company's website, wyrevolution.com.
WY as in whatsyourrevolution.com.
Exactly.
And I would, if you like podcasts, because you listen to this podcast already, I would highly recommend you go listen to Dr. Charles Corprew's What's
Thank
Your
you.
Revolution. It's very interesting, even if you don't want to change at all.
Like you.
Like me. I'm totally happy to be complacent how I am, but I find it a really interesting podcast. Thank you so much to Basics Swim and Gym for making this show possible. We can get a full range of fashion, swimsuits, workout, and yoga clothes with style, including bikinis. One piece. Do you like a one piece, Charles?
It fits perfectly on me.
Okay, what about a cover-up? You can get everything you need for the beach and pool at Basics Swim and Gym. It's right next to Basics Underneath, which is a lingerie store on Magazine Street, just near Jefferson Avenue. Thank you to Hangover Destroyer, the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. If you can go to the Hangover Destroyer website, it's hdestroyer.com, and write happy hour in the coupon code, you'll get 30% off of your first order of Hangover Destroyer. So, Mykia, you too can seize
So
the dawn.
when you get back on the horse.
Yeah, this is good for you. I'm sending you a special care package. And thanks to Louisiana Legs, where you can get workout and yoga clothes with designs that incorporate photographic art, like Mardi Gras beads, boiled crawfish, wrought iron in France, and caves in China. You can find Louisiana Legs on Facebook and Instagram, and you can buy Louisiana Legs on Etsy. And if you'd like to support our show, you can go to Patreon, patreon.com, and look for It's New Orleans Happy Hour. And for as little as $1 a month, which is about $12 a year, you can be a member of the Happy Hour family. You can get on the show, and you can even push your own product or music on Happy Hour if you'd like. So go check that out. It's at Patreon.
So we'll get that jingle together, and I'll get my
And you
$12.
guys are going to have a jingle. You give us $12, and we'll play you jingle every week
There we go.
on Happy Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. Toni Arnona's been here. Mykia Jovan's been here, and Dr. Charles Corprew.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm Grant Morris, and that's been Happy Hour for another week. Our show is produced by Graham DePonte. Our associate producers are Alison Moon and April Stolf, and our music director is Christian Unruh. Jean Valois is our music producer, and Thomas Walsh is our technical director. Asher Griffith is our live Facebook feed director, who's been putting this whole thing on Facebook Live. If you didn't see it on Facebook Live, you can go to our Facebook Live page or our Facebook page on It's New Orleans and take a look at it. Our fact checker and social media connector is Andrew Sirak, and he's away with bronchitis. Our theme music was written today and is being played right now by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show, you can stay upright for about an hour while drinking or not drinking cocktails. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com, where you can hear many other hours of Happy Hour we've recorded previously, along with some other shows we make here as well. Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace. Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tucker, and our award-winning podcast about death called Death the Podcast, named one of the top 40 podcasts in America in 2017. You can also find other great Louisiana podcasts at itsacadiana.com and itsbatonrouge.la. You can keep up with us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and a bunch of other time-sucking social media as well. On all of it, we're called It's New Orleans, and you can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com. And on our Facebook page, the photos were taken today by Alison Moon. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, which you probably are, thank you very much for subscribing to us. Take a moment, if you've got one, to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at Wayfare on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hours of production of Elliyahu Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. Andrew Duhon will actually be back here next week. For everyone around the table here at Wayfare and back at our office at Elliyahu Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. I'll see you back here next week for more Happy Hour. Okay, everybody.
Pros, for the supplies you use most, start with Lowe's, because Lowe's stocks the right quantities you need for any size job, like treated lumber, fencing, and decking. Load up on savings when you buy in bulk and get up to 30% off select 80-pound bags of Quick Read or Sack Read. Plus, get 5% off eligible purchases every day with your Lowe's Business Credit account. For other great benefits Lowe's offers pros, stop by and talk to your dedicated pro team today. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval, can't be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.